Welcome everyone to Omkara Pathshala once again. We are very excited. A new sector and one of the best people we could hope to come here and teach us, our gurus today, Sharad ji and Prashant ji. You know, this is one sector which every investor might have stayed away from the last 10, 12 years, but suddenly it is picking up. So we are talking about real estate, of course. And now it seems that it is picking up pace. To understand everything about the sector, you know, I can't tell you how much excited I am. Sharad and Prashant, both of you, welcome. A disclosure before, we don't have Omkara Capital or me, Varinder Bansal, or any one of us don't have any business alliances with Anarok or Knight Frank. This is just a basic tutorial on the real estate sector where we wanted to understand the sector. And we thought that why not everyone else, you know, who is watching this episode also learns along with us. Of course, I'm joined with Tejas, who is the head of research at Omkara Capital, and you know, a beautiful face, Ishrat Khatri also joins us, who has been covering real estate at Omkara Capital. Sharad and Prashant, thank you so much for being our guru today.
It's a pleasure, Varinder, to be on the same platform. Really looking forward to this discussion.
Lovely. So we say कि whatever we do दिल से and no jargons. तो मैं आपसे request करूँगा आप हिंदी में बात कीजिए, इंग्लिश में बात कीजिए, जैसे ही बात कीजिए, make it a coffee table kind of a conversation जितना हो सके. तो मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन आप दोनों को कि ये एक सेक्टर ऐसा है जिससे सब लोग डरते हैं. सुनते हैं रियल एस्टेट के बारे में, सब लोग बोलते हैं यार रियल एस्टेट में डेट बहुत होता है, रियल एस्टेट में आधे लोग ऐसे चोर भरे हुए हैं, पैसा बनेगा नहीं बनेगा, क्या करें क्या नहीं करें. How do you, both of you, see this sector? You know, first of all, help us to understand what is real estate sector as a whole, if I have to understand in India, say versus other economies, because you guys, Anarok and Knight Frank, track many other Asian peers as well, right? I'll start with Prashant.
Thank you, Varinder. It's a pleasure to be on your show. जैसा कि आपने बताया, वाकई में काफी लोग घबराते हैं, और and the reason for this you know, anxiety and suspicion is that real estate and specifically residential real estate always had this reputation that, you know, this is one of the most unorganized sectors. We have seen so many movies made around it, Ghosla, where, you know, people have been shown they have lost money. So, you know, I think this when you compare it with the other developed countries, real estate is one of the most transparent and organized sector. Take example of US, where every data is documented, everything is, you know, available at the tip of the finger, and that's the reason over there real estate has kind of, you know, grown significantly, and they have contributed, you know, meaningfully in the GDP growth. Unfortunately, India में ऐसा नहीं हो रहा था. So if you know, go back, you know, before 2008, or let's say 2003 or 2008 की period, if हम बात करते हैं, so that was the era where lot of local landlords became developers. All you needed was a piece of land, some good connection with the higher authorities, and, you know, a little bit of muscle power. But you know, that also led to the huge piling up of unsold inventory, people getting stuck with their, you know, projects, and that brought a bad name. And अगर आप देखिए रेरा के आने के बाद, things have started to change. I'll give you one small data. So somewhere in, let's say, आज से अगर आप 8-9 साल पहले देखिए, the number of launches that are happening in the top 7 cities of India, 80% I would say was more of from unorganized player, or more than that, I would say 83%. 17% जो launches होते थे, that were from either listed or grade A developer, reliable. This number was, you know, highly skewed towards local unorganized sector, and that was the problem area. As we speak, आप देखिए रेरा के आने के बाद लोगों का जो awareness बढ़ा है. Today this number, the total number of launches that you see as of today, the share of good reputed developer has gone to 35%. So this mix is changing. और जिस तरीके से ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ रही है, कॉर्पोरेट डेवलपर्स आर एंटरिंग, रेरा इज gaining lot of foothold. I think this percentage would increase. So it's a good news for investors like you and me, end user home buyers. And once the market gets organized and it gets transparent, that's the time a lot of foreign funds also get interested in it. So मेरे ख्याल से
do you have any data in terms of कि अपना इंडिया का real estate market कितना बड़ा है compared to, say, I don't know whether you want to compare that with the US or China or even an Asian player like Singapore?
See, in terms of volume, I think हम काफी छोटे GDP contribution के हिसाब से I can tell you. For example, India में अभी close to 7% of contribution in real estate. This number is almost double for China. So that itself signifies that where we are right now. If you look at the demography, China और हम बिल्कुल same ही हमारा comparison हमेशा होते रहता है. तो बात size की नहीं. We are, if you look at other data point, I keep on saying that 80% of the country is yet to be developed. So you need to look at the potential. मेरे ख्याल से ये pandemic के बाद अगर आप देखिए, and if you take into account रेरा के आने के बाद जैसे एक तरह से industry में, residential industry में disruption आया था, where sales गिर गए थे, launches गिर गए थे, but that was for the benefit of the overall sector. यहाँ से अगर आप देखिए जो growth आने वाली है, it is being led by grade A developers. So आप अगर stock market में भी देखेंगे, realty index was 10 years high. Why is this happening? Because now it is led by grade A developers. जितनी भी consolidation होनी थी almost हो चुका है, और जो sales जो है अभी buyers हैं. अगर आप देखिए किसी भी speculator का market में बहुत ज़्यादा आ जाना is also not good for the industry, and that's what happened with the residential real estate. Real estate में investor के बजाय speculators आ गए थे, and that's where everybody suffered. So now this journey I think is more organized, led by end users. Supplies are being infused by corporate developers. RERA is there, and we have a huge number of information channels through which we can verify before we enter into a transaction. Millennials are are the person, I would say the percentage of the buyers is kind of more towards millennials and young population. And with digitization, which is the positive key takeaway of pandemic, the information is available. So mere ख्याल से we are looking at a good 5 to 6 years of next run that is going to happen in real estate.
Lovely. And I'll request everyone, okay, please budge in anywhere you want. आप किसी को भी कोई questions पूछिए. As I said, make it a very homely conversation, which is important. शरद जी, और आपको कहीं भी कोई point लगे, शरद जी, प्रशांत जी, एक दूसरे को add करने के लिए या फिर debate करने के लिए, please be free, okay? शरद जी, your views, okay? Real estate में तेजी अभी और बाकी है?
Real estate, see, I think last 5-7 years काफी challenging रहा है. I think from 13-14, depending on किस market में हम बात कर रहे हैं. So either price appreciation नहीं हुआ है या volume absorption नहीं हुआ है. So I think normally cycle, और अब हम देख रहे हैं pandemic से वो और accelerate हो गया था last year. We saw a sharp correction or in terms of volume at least in most of the markets, क्योंकि market ही सभी कुछ बंद था. So I think, और अब हम जो देख रहे हैं पिछले especially after the second wave की demand वापस आ रहा है और बड़ी तरीके से आ रहा है. And this is we are seeing listed unlisted दोनों developers में जिनसे हम बात करते हैं और market में report होता है, especially through RERA and other forums, we see कि demand is coming back in a big way and some amount of pricing power is also coming back. So I see कि this is and the fundamentals of the economy are also turning around. The economy last year हमारा negative था. And now we are looking for a strong growth this year and the next year. So as the economy continues to rebound, we will see rebound in the real estate as well. Real estate is very intimately tied to the economy. What happens to the economy is reflected because every activity practically of the economy requires real estate. Whether आप manufacturing करो, trading करो, उसके लिए वेयर हाउस चाहिए, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए फैसिलिटीज, फैक्ट्रीज चाहिए, ऑफिसेज चाहिए, एंड ऑफिसेज होते हैं, जॉब्स क्रिएट होते हैं तो लोगों को सैलरीज आती हैं, फिर वो घर खरीदते हैं, फिर वो शॉपिंग, स्कूल, हॉस्पिटल, ये सब नीड आती हैं. सो ऑल रियल एस्टेट इज लिंक्ड टू द इकोनॉमी, एंड इफ द इकोनॉमी डज वेल, रियल एस्टेट डज वेल. And I think if the focus remains on the economy and on the growth of the economy, real estate will continue to do well.
So, I think we attended one interaction with Abhishek Loda, also from Loda, and, I think one of the data points, what he mentioned was that, as you rightly said, Prashant, that the contribution of real estate is 6-7% of the GDP, right? So, as per him, or the data points which are there in the market, I think the assumption is that the real estate industry can actually reach $1 trillion, okay, as a total industry by 2030. The growth, say, between 2008 to 2017 for the industry was around 8 to 10%. And the estimate is that that growth could go to, some 18-19%. One, do you believe that the growth rate in the next 5 years could be almost double what we have seen in the last 6-7 years? And does the Indian real estate industry could be $1 trillion going ahead?
See, I think if Sharad has rightly pointed out that the growth of economy is as closely, or say the fate of real estate is linked with the economy, and the target that we have set for economic growth, and the factors that are being aligned, I think real estate will definitely reach what numbers you just mentioned. Couple of factors that are in favor right now. As I said, that once the market is organized, the depth of the market increases. If you see the real estate before pandemic, it was more or less concentrated only in tier 1 cities. But post pandemic, with this we are talking about this reverse migration, where hybrid working models will emerge. People in tier 2, tier 3 cities will also start to take up meaningful jobs because the companies are okay with that now. That will lead to a very balanced growth of residential real estate, or any kind of real estate in this tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. Let's take an example. If you see the commercial office spaces, these flexi space operators are taking up space in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. Few of the biggest mall operators are planning to open their malls in these tier 2, tier 3 cities, because what has happened, people who are living in these metros, they have gone back and they are used to a certain kind of lifestyle, and they would expect that. And since the industry moves closer to their customers, so these kind of development will start to happen in these cities as well. So what I want to say is the growth till now that was only concentrated in 5 or 6 mega cities will be more broad based, and that gives me confidence that this industry as a whole will grow. Now, coming back to some of the other factors, if you look into the way this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is pushing for housing for all, that itself will increase the housing base across the country. And as the infrastructure opens up new land parcel, if you see, all the cities are kind of they have taken up mega infrastructure projects that would open massive land parcels that were not let's say inhabitable before this. So I think the real broad-based growth is happening right now, and that's the reason big corporates are looking at this sector with a very renewed focus. So mere khayal se we are at the cusp of entering a cycle that would last for another 5 or 10 years, because real estate भी cycles में move करती है. हमने अभी पिछले 5, 7, 8 साल से देखा, it was going down and down. I think the bottom was reached in 2020. We will start to slowly recover. And then if you look at ANROC reports that we have published, 2023 तक हम 19 के level को cross कर जाएंगे. 14 के जो peaks हमने achieve किए थे during the golden days of real estate will take time, because we are talking about more balanced growth that will happen. But yes, if you take into account other alternative asset class emerging in real estate, I think what figure we are looking at is quite achievable in next 10 years.
Number, please. When you said 2019 के peak को cross कर जाएंगे, what are you looking at numbers?
So 2014 में, I'll give an example. हम on an average सालाना 5.25 लाख से 5.5 लाख तक के launches करते थे. I'm talking about all the 7 cities, which fell down to almost 2,25,000 in 2019 itself, even before this pandemic came in, because RERA, GST, demonetization, all this regulatory disruption happened, which brought down these launches. 2020 में launches बिल्कुल कम हो गए थे. I would say 77% गिर गए थे peak से, and 2021 में we are saying that it will recover, let's say by 30% as compared to 2020. 2023 तक हम launches 2.25 लाख के लगभग पहुंचेंगे, 2.25 लाख से 2.5 लाख, which is way below during the golden period. But what I want to highlight is that this growth is now not pushed in an abnormal way. It is a more calibrated, calculated growth that we'll see, and that's where in next 10 cycle, what I'm telling is will be the golden run for the residential real estate or real estate as a whole.
ये 5.25 लाख कब तक आपका आइडिया पहुंच जाएंगे हम लोग? 5.25 लाख?
मेरे ख्याल से मुझे लगता है next 5 years में we will reach this number, because as I said earlier कि tier 2 cities से भी काफी demand आएंगे. अभी क्या हो रहा है कि everybody has started to see this emerging trend कि tier 2, tier 3 cities भी is a viable option, but not every national level developer is there right now.
प्रशांत, अभी नंबर क्या होगा इसका? 1 लाख, 1.25 लाख?
हाँ. तो मेरे ख्याल से आप मैं बोल सकता हूँ 2025 या 26 के बाद आप देख सकते हैं कि हम 3.5-4 लाख के नंबर्स हिट करने लगेंगे.
Got it. Tejas and Sharad, please, whenever you want to chip in, okay? My next question, Sharad, is जैसे you guys are speaking about 6 to 7% contribution, right, of GDP. So मोटा मतलब 15 लाख करोड़ का इंडस्ट्री है ये, right? So if I have to divide the industry into 2 parts, one is that how much is say residential, commercial, किस तरीके से होता है, कि 15 लाख करोड़ अगर मैं मानूं टोटल इंडस्ट्री है उसको किस तरीके से डिवाइड करेंगे. और दूसरा, there are so many business models which are run, right? अभी for us, because we only understand stock markets, Godrej Properties हुआ, Loda हुआ, DLF हुआ, Prestige हुआ, Shobha, whatever number of companies, they follow different business models. So we can't say कि सब real estate company एक ही होती है. And REIT of course has come in, right? Please help us explain in 2 parts. One is ki, what is the categorization of the 15 lakh crore industry, and second, which are the business models which are run in this industry and how are they different? Please.
I'll go on that. Just I wanted to share some data on the previous question in terms of launches, if I may. Yeah, if you can see my screen, so this shows how the launches have moved. So if you look for, this is basically from 2010, and this is half yearly. So, as you can see, it was, करीब 2.5-3 lakh के करीब था half yearly, which is 5-5.5 lakh. And now we are, at about, we have come back to about 1 lakh in the first half of this year, जो कि first half last year में करीब 60,000 हो गया था. उससे already we've done a 71% recovery, and despite the second wave of COVID being there.
So 5-5.5 लाख का 2 लाख तो already हो चुका है हमारा, ठीक है? आप ये बोल रहे हैं.
हाँ, run rate अगर आप देखोगे, and this is despite us losing a couple of months due to the second wave. So I think if month on month run rate may be even higher than that.
Wow. So sorry, I'm confused. So Prashant said that 2023 mein we will cross 2 lakh or around 2 lakh. So which means as per your data, we have already crossed that?
In terms of run rate, may not be aggregate, but yeah, this is our first half ka data. We've already, so this is launches. And this is for, we track, I think, 8 cities. So that is already crossed 1 lakh units.
That's good news for you.
Yeah, any increase in sales number is good news for Anurag.
So, sorry, Tejas.
Yeah, just a couple of questions over here from my side. Number one is, there is what has changed after COVID. I'm still struggling to understand that. Okay, because I don't think people have suddenly got a lot of money in their hands to buy property. Okay, especially in the top 7-8 cities, we don't see prices have also declined a lot. Prices may have declined by about 5-7%, and there is some support from government incentives, but it is not really a very, I would say, a very game-changing thing. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of technical factors at this point of time which has helped the demand for the last few quarters. So, say for example, Maharashtra government reduced stamp duty to 2% and 3%, which pushed the buyers to buy. Okay, and then maybe because of the pandemic, the builders may have corrected the prices a bit, which pushed the sales. Okay, but today, I think as we return back to kind of normalcy, is this trend sustainable? That is number one question. Now, question number two is that today the steel prices are very high, which has obviously pushed the cost of construction also very high. Okay, and obviously builder will pass that cost to the customer, implying that, and the stamp duty discounts have also gone away. So that implies close to 8 to 10% at least increase in the cost of purchase. So with these two factors, what is the sustainability of the trend that we've seen in the last couple of quarters? If you can help us understand this.
See, Tejas, very fair observation. दो तीन चीजें हुई थी, and you rightly said, post pandemic, मेरे ख्याल से, if you talk about first wave, where this loss of human life was not much, उसके बाद we saw a good amount of pent up demand. लोगों के पास पैसा था, they would have realized the importance of house. Second, सबसे important बात क्या हुई थी कि ready to move in stock काफी market में था, and that's where a lot of transaction happened. And you rightly pointed out that the government intervention, for example, especially in Maharashtra, stamp duty cut really helped. And in other cities, for example, Bangalore, where good amount of RTM were sold, and then people were expecting that there would be job losses in these IT and ITS driven companies. That did not happen to that extent. So that was one part. And developers also should be given credit. They did not escalate the price during that time, and then they were willing to sit across the table, and they focused on clearing the stock. Now, second wave was the time when a lot of financial hit was there, and people have been pointing this question that the sales optimism that you guys keep on saying, is it sustainable? My answer to that, reflects in the projections that we have done. That's the reason I say that we'll not reach the peak of 2014 immediately. It will be a gradual progress, and based on our interaction with the consumers, what we have seen that there are some serious buyers who have realized that this is the high time to secure a house, because though the input cost is rising, developers have refrained from escalating the price exponentially. So the affordability is all-time best. Your home loan, there are various factors which are pushing the buyers towards purchase. They have some, there were a good amount of buyers who were sitting on the fence, wait कर रहे थे कि prices correct होंगे. Before pandemic की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. But now they have realized that inflation धीरे-धीरे बढ़ने की बात हो रही है, interest rate बढ़ सकता है. So this is the right time to buy. So those set of people are coming and buying, and still 80% of the sales that we have seen is end user driven. और input cost की अगर बात करें, सी बहुत सारे developers, if you look at the way developers clear the inventory, pre-launch stage पे developer बहुत ही सस्ते पे बेचता है to just secure some cash flow. Mid stage पे जब थोड़ी construction हो जाती है, he increases the price slightly and sells. The maximum amount of his profitability is tied at those stock which will which he will sell at the completion. The maximum amount of money is is there. Unfortunately, what happened to the developers that this cycle got prolonged because of various disruption, and now he's in a fix. We are in a scenario where the prices cannot be increased exponentially, and he cannot sustain the increase in input cost if he sells at the price which he has been quoting 6 or 7 months back, because his entire calculation has gone for a toss. So in my opinion, today or tomorrow, the developers will be forced to increase the price slightly, taking into account the way your cement and steel prices have gone up. We should also not forget the way labor cost has gone up. Now they have to incur extra amount in accommodating them on the site. And today's buyers have kind of become smart. They can predict, they can analyze that this pricing environment that they are in right now is one of the most affordable. And from here, it is only upward journey in terms of price. So I think these informed buyers are taking this decision to buy. But again, you rightly said that it will not be a mad rush. We'll not see that the residential market or real estate is all of a sudden going upward. Volatile stock market is also kind of helping real estate residential, because the valuations are at peak. So few people are booking profit and securing their real estate, because it also gives balance to the portfolio. So these are my observation basically. But yeah, I agree, it will not be super normal growth. It will be a well sustained growth, but this cycle will continue for next 8 to 10 years.
Got it. So Sharad, can you come on that question?
Yeah, sure. I'll also share some data on this.
So I'm really interested in understanding how to divide the market into business models.
Yeah, so I'll come to that. First, if you see, so this is for first half of this year. So you see Mumbai and Pune lead the sales chart. That is where the maximum sales have happened. And this is driven by our, mainly the stamp duty cut. So you see the impact has been more pronounced in Mumbai and Pune, let's say compared to Bangalore. And the sales have in Q4 and Q1 have even surpassed previous 2-3 years sales, the run rate that we had achieved. So that is kind of also reflecting on the pent-up demand people were holding back, and the other factors that Prashant outlined, combined with the stamp duty cut, has had a big impact. Now, I think to answer your question, which is pending, is on the business model. So I think, first of all, I think if you look at top down, there are various, within real estate, there are various asset classes. So there are people who do multiple things, but within that, some of them are specializing either in residential or office space or mall, and now some in warehousing, logistics, including some domestic, some foreign players. Talking specifically, I think about residential, and you took one name. So there are different models. One is the most oldest model is you buy the land, you develop it, you sell it, you do everything end to end. The other models which are coming in is as a lot of people
someone like DLF does, right? Or you may not like to name the company, but just to understand that, I think DLF has been the oldest builder doing this, all what you said, right?
Yeah, so that was the earlier model, but I think over the last, I would say 2 decades, other models have also evolved. One is that as consolidation is happening, demonetization happened, RERA, GST, all this happened, it is moving to all from unorganized to more organized. So as organized players are coming in, there are a lot of small-time developers who maybe have the land, who have the license, but now they realize that they need other skills which they may or may not have necessarily. And or other players who are stronger can add more value, and they can realize more from that project by partnering with a stronger developer. So it's a win-win for all. And in this, there are various models have evolved. I'm trying to think so that I don't use jargon, but one is like a partnership, which we call like a joint venture. तो दोनों का अपना हिस्सा है, आप प्रोजेक्ट साथ में करते हो, अपना अपना हिस्सा आपको मिल जाता है।
जैसे वो जेडीए बोलते हैं इसमें आपके, ठीक है?
जेडीए कहते हैं जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट की, जॉइंट वेंचर या जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट एग्रीमेंट। तो उसमें एक हिस्सा अपना शेयरिंग का एक तरीका फॉर्मूला अग्री हो जाता है, जो जेवी जेडीए में थोड़ा फर्क होता है कि किसी में एरिया शेयर कर रहे हैं, किसी में रेवेन्यू शेयर कर रहे हैं, किसी में प्रॉफिट आप शेयर कर रहे हैं। तो किस तरह का बिजनेस मॉडल है। तो एक ये मॉडल आ गया कि लैंड और लाइसेंस किसी के पास है, डेवलपर, मार्केटिंग, सेल्स, एग्जीक्यूशन किसी और के पास कैपेबिलिटी है, वो साथ में मिलके प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे हैं। एंड इस तरह से कई प्रोजेक्ट पूरे हुए हैं एंड हैव बीन वेरी सक्सेसफुल। दी एक और मॉडल आया है विच इज, तो इसमें जो जो पार्टनरशिप वाला मॉडल है, उसमें जो डेवलपर है वो भी पैसे भी लगाता है, अपना लोन भी लेता है, सारा उसका कैपिटल भी लगता है। एक और मॉडल है जहां खाली आप अपने ब्रांड पे प्ले करते हो, विच इज अ डेवलपमेंट मैनेजमेंट मॉडल, डीएम मॉडल जिसको हम कहते हैं, कि सारा लैंड, लाइसेंस, सब कुछ ओनर का होता है, और जो पार्टनर आता है, लोन भी ओनर के नाम पे लिया जाता है, बट जो पार्टनर आता है वो ब्रांडिंग, मार्केटिंग, सारा प्रोसेस मैनेज करता है, बट सारा एक्टिविटी फिर भी ओनर की बैलेंस शीट और उसके नाम पे होता है। तो ये एक और नया मॉडल है जो और मतलब जो और ऑर्गेनाइज्ड और बेटर डेवलपर्स हैं, सिर्फ वही ये इस टाइप के मॉडल कर पाते हैं, जिनके पास वो सारी कैपेबिलिटी है और लोगों को कॉन्फिडेंस है कि उनके नाम पे माल बिक जाएगा और बेटर रियलाइजेशन होगा।
तो पहला तो मैं समझा, सेकंड में मेरे ख्याल में मेरे दिमाग में गोदरेज प्रॉपर्टीज आ रहा है, तीसरे में इज इट मोर प्रेवलेंट इन इंडिया और नॉट?
सो आप एक नाम ले रहे हो, वो भी सब तरह के करते हैं और लोग भी करते हैं, और मतलब यहाँ पे भी मतलब वेरियस सिटीज में अलग अलग प्लेयर्स हैं, एंड प्लेयर्स डिपेंडिंग ऑन द प्रोजेक्ट, प्रोजेक्ट की लोकेशन, प्रोजेक्ट की स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, उस बेसिस पे डिसाइड करते हैं कि कौन सा मॉडल फॉलो करना है। किसी एक मैंने किसी का ये नहीं देखा कि मतलब एक दो को छोड़ के कि उनका फिक्स्ड मॉडल है, क्योंकि रियल एस्टेट बहुत ही लोकल होता है, और लोकल उसके नुआंसेस होते हैं, लोकल रिस्क होते हैं, उसको देख के समझ के दोनों पार्टीज मिलके डिसाइड करते हैं कि कौन सा मॉडल इसके लिए, इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए
कई बार
सूटेबल।
मार्केट में कि हमें बोलते हैं कि अगर जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट या ऐसा मॉडल कीजिए जब जहाँ पे आपको लैंड रिस्क नहीं होगा, इट्स अ बेटर वे ऑफ फंक्शनिंग इफ यू आर अ रियल एस्टेट कंपनी। इज दैट राइट टू पुट
इसको
दैट?
एसेट लाइट मॉडल कहते हैं, कि आप जैसे एसेट लाइट मॉडल और बिजनेसेस में होता है, तो दिस इज एसेट लाइट मॉडल, कि आपका कैपिटल जो है जमीन और लाइसेंस में नहीं लगा, जहां ज्यादा कैपिटल लगता है और ज्यादा समय के लिए लॉक इन हो जाता है वो, और आप सिर्फ जब अप्रूवल है, रेडी है प्रोजेक्ट, तब आप आते हो और डेवलपमेंट करते हो। मे भी थोड़ा सा लोन लेना पड़ता है या थोड़ी सी इक्विटी डालनी पड़ती है, बट तो एसेट लाइट मॉडल होता है, तो डेवलपर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से और जिनको तेजी से ग्रो करने के लिए ये बहुत अच्छा मॉडल है।
सर आपने एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बोला कि ये बहुत लोकल रियल एस्टेट एक बिजनेस है, राइट? लाइक हमने देखा डीएलएफ came to Bombay, never succeeded. I think MR came to India, never succeeded. I have never seen a big MNC real estate company coming to India and succeeding anywhere. Pan India presence में मुश्किल से एक कंपनी है पूरे भारत में. So, why is that? Second, is this the same everywhere around the world?
Yeah, so I think what Prashant alluded to it earlier कि see approvals का बहुत बड़ा हाथ होता है, और ये दुनिया भर में prevalent है। चाहे आप मतलब मिडिल ईस्ट में देख लो, मिडिल ईस्ट वाले कहीं और ज्यादा नहीं काम करते हैं या सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुए हैं, हांगकांग वाले चाइना में नहीं जाते हैं, चाइना वाले हांगकांग में नहीं आते हैं, यूरोप वाले अपना यूरोप में रहते हैं, यूएस वाले वहां रहते हैं, यूएस में भी मार्केट्स बटे हुए हैं, क्योंकि बहुत रीजनल क्योंकि एक तो पॉलिसीज अलग अलग होती हैं, हर स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है, लोकल जोनिंग नॉर्म्स होते हैं, तो एक तो वो होता है कि इट इज वेरी डिफरेंट। आपका जो लेट्स से आपका एक स्टैंडर्ड आपने अपना डिजाइन बनाया है या वो है, दैट मे नॉट वर्क इन अ डिफरेंट मार्केट। हमारे यहाँ कस्टमर नुआंसेस भी अलग होते हैं, बट मेनली अप्रूवल का एक बहुत बड़ा एलिमेंट होता है, which changes from particularly in India state to state, And so it is, मतलब बहुत मुश्किल होता है for someone to be successful in multiple geographies. It takes a lot of effort, almost like setting up a new business. So you can do it, but it takes a lot of effort and energy. And अगर आपको अपने home market में strength है और opportunities मिल रही हैं वहाँ पे, तो people prefer कि to be close to it and focus on that.
तो सर ये तो मार्केट ही बहुत अच्छा है, आपने 60-70% डेवलपर्स को निकाल दिया लास्ट 10 साल में, अभी जो बच के वही बड़े बनते रहेंगे।
यही दिख रहा है हमें स्टॉक मार्केट वगैरह, आप देखिए, दिस इज द एंटायर स्टोरी प्लेइंग आउट. सो if you look at the launches that are happening, see, it's not only about consolidation, it is also about the cost of doing business in this new regulatory environment. So I would rather say the cost of making a mistake for a developer has gone too high after RERA coming in, and the consumer also is only placing his trust with renowned developers. I was surprised to see pandemic ke samay, and these were the few of the sales that we were doing. The tier 2 developers who are giving heavy discount were not finding buyers, while grade A developers were willing to sell it, even without price escalation. So there is somewhere, the buyers have realized that if unknown local developer is giving you a price discount, heavy discount, under construction project है, तो उससे दूर ही रहना है. उसके दूसरी तरफ आप देखो जो few companies जिन्होंने renowned companies जो है जिन्होंने launches किए, उनके आप नोएडा जैसे मार्केट में देख लो, गोदरेज के launches कितने अच्छे बिके वहां पे. So somewhere this shift is happening.
Alright.
So, and because see, this also we need to understand, the buyer is putting his lifelong saving money. It's a kind of a long process that he goes through, and this decision sticks with him for life. There are buyers who bought flat, at a very good rate way back, in let's say 2003 or 4. They're still waiting for possession. So nobody wants to take execution risk, and that's where I think big will get bigger. This phenomena will definitely play out in real estate as well.
Lovely. I think should.
Yeah, sir. Hi. Sure. So I just wanted to understand, I mean, you mentioned that tier 2, tier 3 cities also, there's a lot of penetration happening, and that's where the growth can come from. So I just wanted to understand the whole, if you divide the market into affordable, mid-premium and luxury segment, so where do you see the drivers? Because I read in a few places that the margins for affordable, the cash flows for affordables are obviously relatively much lower, and hence the larger players are refraining themselves from getting into too much of the affordable category. So how do we see the structure, and where do we see the growth primarily coming from?
See, you rightly said that, affordable is more like an FMCG product, where you launch a project, get approvals quickly, construction should be completed on time, and you sell it quickly. That's where you make money. But unfortunately, post-pandemic, what has happened, there has been disruption in supply chain, disruption in your labor, and the costs have gone up. Not to forget that the extraordinary amount of time the approvals take. So that itself, makes this whole affordable proposition not very appealing for most of the developers. Now, this is evident from the data also. If you look at the launches of last 5 years, or let's say rather 4 years, once this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana started to focus more, and we got a lot of, benefits and SOPs announced for developers as well, affordable occupied almost close to 40 to 50% of shares in the new launches. That has come down to 20% as of this quarter. So somewhere these factors have started to play out. We have a lot of affordable stock which is currently under construction or moved into unsold inventory stage. But now developers are more focusing in the budget segment, which I would call something above 80 lakhs. So this is the sweet spot where most of the developers are focusing, which I would say is 80 lakhs and above. So that's where, you'll see the growth coming in from. And tier 2, tier 3 cities, I would say they are still at the discussion phase. They are, a lot of the developers are discussing their strategy to enter this market, because I said earlier that it's a long process. They will evaluate how is the approval process over there, at what rate the land prices goes up. Because see what happens in India basically is that land prices shoot up, based on few of the subjective news that floats around. Everybody is talking about that tier 2 and tier 3 cities will be in demand. So I think once the euphoria around this settles down, I think developers will kind of start to look at it, but not immediately. You'll see that next year you'll not see that big names launching in cities which are not in their radar right now. But of course, yeah.
सर मेरे दिमाग में एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, सॉरी टू गो बैक. शरद जी, आपने मेरा वो आंसर नहीं दिया अभी तक कि मैं अगर 15 लाख करोड़ की मार्केट को किस तरीके से डिवाइड करूंगा, एक चीज. और दूसरा, इफ बोथ ऑफ यू कैन हेल्प अस, यू टोल्ड अस अबाउट द लॉन्चेस, राइट, कि 5.25 लाख से कम होके रन रेट जो है अभी 2 लाख के आसपास आ चुका है या 2.25 लाख के आसपास आ चुका है. Can you also share number on the inventory, because that is the number everyone keeps on watching, कि peak inventory level कितना था, अभी inventory level कितना है, demand supply में कितना फर्क है अभी? You must be having numbers.
Yeah, I can share inventory numbers, and I'll leave the 15 lakh crore question for Prashant.
You take the easy one, eh?
I'll take the easy one. So here, so this is the unsold inventory chart that I have. So as you see, the inventory, if you see, was, peaked somewhere here in 14-15 and has been coming down ever since.
This is what, 8 cities?
This is 8 cities. That is where we track. So this is of those 8 cities. And we also track quarters to sell. So if I just go there, so this is the based on current run rate, how much the inventory is. So we saw a big increase in 13-14. Then it was kind of stable, and then it was doing well before the pandemic hit. So in 18-19 it was doing well, and then since the pandemic it has gone up slightly. And if we exclude the 2 quarters of pandemic, it's still at about 7.6, which is not too bad.
नहीं सर, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? बाकी आपने पहले क्या बोला कि इन्वेंटरी कितना 7 लाख के आसपास बाकी है?
हाँ.
About 5 lakhs, about 5 lakhs.
7 लाख पहले था, अभी करीब 5 लाख के आसपास है.
Okay, 5 lakh is the inventory which is still there.
Now, isme I will qualify this. So this is based on what is launched, right? Now, what happens? Many of these projects, उनमें काम नहीं हो रहा है, काम रुका हुआ है, वो स्टक प्रोजेक्ट्स में आते हैं, जिसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने भी स्वामी फंड लॉन्च किया है to provide relief to the home buyers in stuck projects. So many of these are in those stuck projects, जिनमें काम हो रहा है, जिनमें completion हो रहा है, वहां पे that is where the sales is happening. So unsold inventory is largely where काम रुक गया है for whatever reason.
So sorry, I'm a bit confused. Okay, I'm a very slow learner. तो आपने क्या बोला, जो launches हैं इंडिया में 5 लाख होते थे, अराउंड होते थे, जो अभी 1.5-2 लाख के आसपास आ गए हैं. And additionally there is an inventory of 5 lakh which is under construction but which cannot be sold, right?
Under construction, मतलब पेपर पे under construction है, but let's say उन पे most of them पे काम रुका हुआ है.
So कितना माल बाकी होगा इंडिया में बेचने वाला, अगर किसी if I think about the supply side, so is it like जितना launch हो रहा है हमें उतना ही पकड़ना चाहिए कि launch plus unsold inventory पकड़ना चाहिए?
So लॉन्च तो डेफिनेटली पकड़ना चाहिए, अनसोल्ड का एक फ्रैक्शन हमें लेना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये जो स्टक प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं वो धीरे धीरे रिजॉल्व हो रहे हैं. कुछ गवर्नमेंट के स्वामी फंड से हो रहे हैं, कुछ और लेंडर्स से हो रहे हैं, कुछ और जैसे हमने पहले बात किया जेडीए जेवी करके हो रहे हैं. तो वो धीरे धीरे ये 5 लाख जो है धीरे धीरे आएगा सप्लाई.
हाउ मच 10% लेना चाहिए, 20% लेना चाहिए? बाकी 1 साल की बात कर रहा हूं मैं तो.
I mean it's hard to say, but maybe somewhere around that एक नंबर हम पकड़ सकते हैं बॉल पार्क के लिए.
So the total number launches plus the unsold inventory could be say around 2.5 to 3 lakh units, right?
Yeah, that is what we can say.
और कितना माल बिकता है सर इंडिया में, क्योंकि अगर मैं डिमांड साइड पे आ जाऊं अभी तो?
हाँ, तो अब डिमांड पे अगर मैं आता हूँ,
और आपका QTS थोड़ा सा हिंदी में समझाएंगे कि व्हाट इज द QTS जो आपने बताया?
हाँ, दैट इज क्वार्टर्स टू सेल। तो बेसिकली अगर ये रन रेट पे है कि अगर मेरे पास 100 यूनिट बचे हुए हैं बेचने के लिए और हर क्वार्टर में 20 यूनिट बिक रहे हैं, तो 100/20 तो 5 क्वार्टर हो जाएगा।
तो आपने क्या बोला कि जितना भी इन्वेंट्री बाकी है वो 7 क्वार्टर में बिक जाएगा?
हाँ, अगर 7 साढ़े 7 क्वार्टर में अगर करंट रन रेट पे अगर कोई नया लॉन्च नहीं होता है तो वो इतने टाइम में बिक जाएगा।
तो मतलब 2 साल में?
2 साल में, हाँ, 2 साल में वो माल बिक जाएगा, अज्यूमिंग नो न्यू लॉन्चेस।
But we are thinking, I'm just saying, so can we say correctly that the demand will exceed supply going ahead in the next 2 to 3 years?
See, I would say, see, are you saying demand will exceed supply?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, demand is, see, now यहाँ पे हमने क्या करा है, पूरा इंडिया का हमने एक तरह से एग्रीगेट कर दिया है। बट जब आदमी खरीदे तो दिस इज नॉट लाइक अ कमोडिटी लाइक स्टील और सीमेंट की आप पूरा एक ले लो। सो यू कैन नॉट कंपेयर। सो किसी को अगर मुंबई में घर चाहिए तो वो दिल्ली में तो जाके नहीं लेगा। तो हो सकता है कि किसी और मार्केट में आपके पास सप्लाई हो या और किसी मार्केट में डेफिसिट हो। सो और मार्केट भी एक नहीं है। मुंबई में अगर किसी को मतलब अंधेरी में लेना है और आप चेंबूर में दे रहे हो तो यू नो इट इज डिफरेंट। So it will have to be looked at locally in that sense, because inventory cannot be cleared unlike a commodity. This is very, very local, which is where again the local element comes in.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to understand that what is the difference now in demand and supply as a percentage. अगर आपके हिसाब से, जैसे आपने बोला कि सप्लाई साइड पे लॉन्चेस अगर 2 लाख हैं प्लस इन्वेंट्री जो स्टक इन्वेंट्री है दैट इज अराउंड से ईयर 3 लाख, तो आज डिमांड कितना है? अभी say near 1 lakh or less than that right now, or after 2-3 years or whatever the QTS number you mentioned, that may bridge down to say 10-20% 30% of the demand and supply difference?
So I can show you कि sales अभी हमारा क्या चल रहा है, so that I can show you.
Right, Tejas bhai? Is that the right way to look at it?
Yeah, it's absolutely the right way to look
So
at it.
if you look at the sales, अभी हम करीब 1 लाख यूनिट हमने फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द ईयर में
बेचे।
हाँ, फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द ईयर में हमने 1 लाख यूनिट हमने बेचे हैं। So that you can say is the current run rate, and the trend is upwards on this. So if you see from मतलब at least you know from the first half of 2020 we are up, and even if you last 2-3 साल का आप देखें तो अभी भी उस लेवल से हम नीचे हैं।
So जितना लॉन्च हो रहा है उतना बिक रहा है, बिकॉज आपके लॉन्चेस भी 2 लाख के आसपास थे, राइट? फर्स्ट हाफ जो आपका था,
हाँ, वो करीब 1 लाख था और 1 लाख करीब सेल हुआ है। मोटा मोटा वो रफली मैच कर रहा है।
और अभी जो सिस्टम में इन्वेंट्री पड़ा है वो स्टक इन्वेंट्री ही है।
वो स्टक लार्जली स्टक इन्वेंट्री है। उसमें से जो रिजॉल्व हो रहा है, जो फिनिश हो रहा है, क्योंकि अभी तो फर्स्ट हाफ में तो ज्यादा रिजॉल्व हुआ भी नहीं क्योंकि काम और रुक गया सेकंड वेव लॉकडाउन की वजह से।
शरद जी, पुराना जो सारा कंप्लीटेड इन्वेंट्री था वो सब बिक चुका है।
See, mostly what I've seen, especially ये second wave के बाद जो डिमांड आई है उसमें लोगों ने प्रेफर किया है कि जो कंप्लीटेड है पहले वो खरीद लें। तो lot of that, anecdotally I can say कि lot of that stuff which was completed has been sold.
Prashant ji, any view on this? Am I right to understand? Sorry, I just want to make sure that am I right to say कि जो completed inventory था वो almost बिक चुका है इंडिया में। जैसे आपने बोला कि 1 लाख लॉन्चेस हैं जो we have which it was 2.5-3 lakh earlier in the peak season. Now it is 1 lakh, and the sales is also happening as per the data shown by Sharad. It is 1 lakh for the first half, which is matching, right?
हमारा थोड़ा अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री का डेटा थोड़ा अलग है, मतलब करीब 6,80,000 के लगभग, एंड दैट डज नॉट इंक्लूड्स स्टक प्रोजेक्ट, हमने उसको क्लीन कर दिया था। हमें ये भी समझना पड़ेगा कि एक इक्विलिब्रियम क्या होता है अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री का। सी रियल एस्टेट ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने आज लॉन्च किया और कल सारा बिक गया। इट इज सोल्ड ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, 2 साल 3 साल का साइकिल रहता है। सो मोटा मोटी हमारे कैलकुलेशन के हिसाब से आप पकड़ लीजिए करीब 3.5 लाख का एक इक्विलिब्रियम है, जो कि हमेशा अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री के रूप में मार्केट में रहेगा ही रहेगा, बिकॉज एक साइकिल होती है। मोटा मोटी हम हर साल आप अगर कोविड को हटा दीजिए तो करीब पोस्ट कोविड अगर आप देखिए जैसे 1.25 लाख से 2.25 लाख का हमारा एनुअल सेल्स होगा हर साल। लॉन्चेस इफ यू सी पिछले 13 सब्सिक्वेंट क्वार्टर से डेवलपर्स ने कम कर रखे हैं, चाहे जो भी कारण हो, बिकॉज ऑफ रेगुलेटरी रीजन। पर 13 कंसेक्यूटिव क्वार्टर्स अगर आप देखिएगा, your sales have always been more than new launches. So इसी रेट से अगर सेल्स चलता रहा, so 5 या 6 क्वार्टर के बाद will reach an equilibrium। पर मार्केट में कभी ये नहीं होगा कि इन्वेंट्री जीरो हो गया। Now to answer Virend's question, अभी क्या हुआ है कि लोगों ने रेडी टू मूव इन स्टॉक काफी खरीदे हैं, पर हमें ये भी समझना पड़ेगा कि डेवलपर्स ने काफी फोकस किया है स्टक प्रोजेक्ट और डिलेड प्रोजेक्ट को कंप्लीट करने के लिए भी, तो वो स्टॉक अभी और मार्केट में आया। तो हमारे ऑब्जर्वेशन से देखा गया है कि 6 लाख 6.5 लाख की जो हम इन्वेंट्री बात कर रहे हैं, उसमें से करीब 7 या 8% रेडी टू मूव इन कैटेगरी में अभी भी पड़ा हुआ है, which I think is good for the cash flow of developers, क्योंकि वो माल फटाफट बिक जाएगा, because that's where people are looking to buy at। और इस पूरे 6.5 लाख की जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, या 6,75,000 जो टू बी प्रिसाइज, उसमें करीब 33% के लगभग ऐसा स्टॉक है जो कि नेक्स्ट 1 ईयर में कंप्लीट होगा। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये जो रेरा का जो स्ट्रिक्ट गाइडलाइन है कि आप कंप्लीशन कीजिए, एंड द वे डेवलपर्स हैव कंट्रोल्ड देयर न्यू लॉन्चेस is helping us to reach to the equilibrium of the market, which I think in 5 to 6 quarters or maximum, let's say 8 quarters, we'll reach there. And that's where we feel that, you know, price appreciation will happen a bit and demand will be robust. एक छोटा सा डेटा अभी हमने कैलकुलेट किया था, sales to launches ratio for last 13 quarters, which comes at 1.25. So that means for 1.25 सेल्स हैपनिंग, उसके पीछे एक लॉन्चेस हो रहा है। सो इस ट्रेंड को अगर हम नेक्स्ट साल भर कंटिन्यू करेंगे तो मेरे हिसाब से मार्केट विल रीच इट्स इक्विलिब्रियम, एंड लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड देयर विल बी नो सिनेरियो वेयर द अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री कैन बी जीरो। देयर विल ऑलवेज बी सम अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री लेफ्ट, बट दैट इन्वेंट्री हैज टू बी कंट्रोलेबल। एक हम पीक में आप देखिए करीब 7-8 लाख के लगभग अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री चला गया था ऊपर। अगर आप देखें तो अनसोल्ड इन्वेंट्री में कोई बहुत ज्यादा चेंज आया नहीं है, पर रेगुलेशन अब इतना स्ट्रिक्ट हो गया है कि वो अब उस रेजोल्यूशन की तरफ बढ़ेगा।
So I understood. So sorry, I'll just frame what I understood. तो उसमें आप अप्रूवल का थप्पा लगा दीजिए, ठीक है ना? तो आपका ये तो मानना है दोनों का कि अभी लॉन्चेस कम हो रहे हैं और सेल्स ज्यादा हो रहा है, तो सेल्स इज ग्रेटर देन द लॉन्चेस। जैसे आपने बोला 1.2 1.25 हो रहे हैं, सो दैट इज कंट्रोलेबल। आपने इन्वेंट्री का बोला, जो आई थिंक शरद जी ने बोला था कि सारी की सारी स्टक इन्वेंट्री है जो 2 साल 3 साल 5 साल में कंप्लीट होगी। आप बोल रहे हो कि वो जो पीक इन्वेंट्री थी वो कुछ 7-7.5 लाख थी, जो कम होके अभी 6.75 लाख हो गई है, जो आपने बोला, राइट? 6.75 की लाख की इन्वेंट्री आपने बोला कि हर साल आती रहेगी, बट किसी भी समय आगे जाके वो 3-3.5 लाख एक इक्विलिब्रियम होता है जो मार्केट में रहेगा, व्हिच इज अ हेल्थियर साइड। बट कहीं ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that the inventory level crosses that peak level of 7.5 लाख, वो नहीं होना चाहिए।
No, that's मेरे ख्याल से 7-7.5 लाख was an outlier, and that's where the real problem started for sector, जहाँ पे buyers started to leave the market, regulator की जरूरत पड़ गई। So मेरे ख्याल से आप हमें ये भी देखना पड़ेगा कि अभी जो लॉन्चेस हो रहे हैं, अफोर्डेबल सेगमेंट में काफी लॉन्चेस हुए थे, और एक अफोर्डेबल प्रोजेक्ट और खास करके जो पेरिफेरीज में जो प्रोजेक्ट आ रहे हैं उसमें नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स बहुत ज्यादा रहते हैं। आप देखेंगे 1000 2,000 की यूनिट्स काफी लॉन्चेस हुए. सो इसके वजह से भी आपका अनसोल्ड इन्वेंटरी ज्यादा दिख रहा होगा. सो व्हाट आई वांट टू से इज कि वी हैव टू स्लाइस एंड डाइस व्हेन वी लुक एट द unsold inventory. We should not say that 6.9 is too high. We have to see out of that at which stage this inventory is, out of which how many new launches have happened, or what is the sales momentum. So,
बट आपके हिसाब से पकड़ूं मैं 7 लाख जो आपने बोला उसका 33% आप बोल रहे हो अगले साल आ रहा है, मतलब 2 लाख के आसपास आ रहा है, और 2 लाख तो आप बोल रहे हो कि सेल्स हो ही रहा है साल का हमारा.
हाँ, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि मतलब हम एक इक्विलिब्रियम की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं. दैट्स इंडिकेटिव इन दिस 1.25 फिगर दैट आई सेड. और 7 लाख हम बात करें बिल्कुल पीक के समय 2013-12 के समय की बात है ये.
सर वो प्रशांत जी,
So
शरद
this
जी, सॉरी मैं लास्ट क्वेश्चन लूंगा तेजस भाई,
No
फिर आप
problem.
तो प्रशांत जी वो शरद सर ने आप पे वो एक मुश्किल क्वेश्चन डाला था.
हाँ. सो देखिए मोटा मोटी मैं परसेंटेज के टर्म पे समझा रहा हूँ. इंडिया में अगर हम रियल एस्टेट का डेफिनेशन एक टेक्स्ट बुक डेफिनेशन है तो इट कंप्राइजेस ऑफ रेजिडेंशियल एंड कमर्शियल कैन बी फर्दर डिवाइडेड इनटू योर ऑफिस एंड रिटेल सेक्टर. सो उसका स्प्लिट आप 80-20 कर सकते. 80 इज स्टिल रेजिडेंशियल, 20% इज कमर्शियल, और उसमें फर्दर ब्रेक आप करेंगे. दिस 20% कैन बी फर्दर स्प्लिट इनटू रिटेल एंड कमर्शियल ऑफिसेज. सो इसमें मेरे ख्याल से कमर्शियल ऑफिसेज आप बोल सकते हैं करीब 12% होगा और 8% रिटेल है. इस प्रोपोर्शन में ये पूरे वैल्यू ऑफ आप रियल एस्टेट को देख सकते हैं. रेजी में अब अलग अलग स्प्लिट भले आ जाएंगे, जहां पे आप बात कर रहे हैं को लिविंग की बात, अलग अलग मॉडल, पर मोटा मोटी ये पाई हमेशा स्क्यूड रहेगा रेजिडेंशियल रियल एस्टेट की तरफ.
और ओवर टू इशरत एंड तेजस भाई.
Yeah, hi Prashant and Sharad. I throw this question open to both of you. If you look at the RBI data which comes, okay, two things that we noticed. One is the growth in home loans is just about 10%. Now this growth in home loans used to be around 15-16%. 15-16% से ग्रो करता था प्रीवियसली. अभी वो ग्रो स्लो हो के 10% आ चुका है. और अगर हम अभी क्वार्टर और क्वार्टर या मंथ और मंथ देखें तो एक्चुअली वो डिक्लाइन हो रहा है. 2-2% से लोन बुक डिक्लाइन हो रहा है. ओके, नाउ इससे मतलब दिस इज अ वेरी कॉन्ट्रास्ट साइन कंपेयर टू व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द रियल एस्टेट. आई अंडरस्टैंड आरबीआई का जो डेटा है वो पूरा नेशन वाइड है और आपका डेटा लार्जली टॉप 7-8 सिटीज में लिमिटेड है. दैट कुड बी वन रीजन. आई डोंट नो, यू कैन गिव मी बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. लेकिन
So Tejas, I think it's a very good observation, and I was expecting this question because many people have pointed out this. See, अभी क्या हो रहा है कि lot of launches that are happening, वहां पे आप देखिए 1% 2% देके बुकिंग हो रही, सब कुछ हो रहा है. होम लोन बाद में होता है. सो अभी का जो आप सेल्स फिगर आप जो देख रहे हैं, और होम लोन लोग बाद में होम लोन सिक्योर करते हैं, और जिस तरीके से भी सेल्स रिपोर्ट हो रहा है, आप दो चीज कर रहे हैं. आप होम लोन का थोड़ा लंबा पीरियड देख रहे हैं फॉर कंपैरिजन, वाइल सेल्स का आप अभी पिछले 3-4 क्वार्टर बेसिकली पोस्ट पैंडेमिक के बाद जो हम तेजी की बात कर रहे हैं, ऑप्टिमिज्म की बात कर रहे हैं, उसका देख रहे हैं. सो इन दोनों में हमेशा एक लैग रहेगा. बिकॉज मैं अगर बायर हूँ, मैंने 1% या 2% देके बुकिंग करी, जो कि डेवलपर उसको सेल्स दिखाएगा, पर मैं हो सकता है होम लोन 15 मतलब और 1-1.5 महीने के बाद अप्लाई करूँ या जैसे भी. सो हमें थोड़ा सा उस मॉडरेशन में देखना पड़ेगा. सो होम लोन डेफिनेटली रेट कम हुआ है. सो इफ यू लुक एट द ओवरऑल सेल्स figure that has come down from the peak till where we are right now, it has also declined. Right. So we need to put this forecast number of sales and then look into that picture ki kaise badh raha hai. So I think you answered your question yourself ki home loan ke growth rate mein kami aayi hai, which if you look at the decline in the rate of sales that has happened will confer that. So your data would be in tandem then.
Okay, got it. Ishrat, for you anything?
Yeah, so also considering the commercial real estate, because we've not spoken on the commercial side yet. So how do you see, I mean, it's a very talked about thing, with the work from home and a lot of companies opting for permanent work from home, etc. Despite this, we've seen quite a lot of supply and new launches on the commercial front as well. So how do you see the dynamics? Plus, if you could just break it down between different micro markets. Obviously, Bangalore is more dominated by IT guys and the Bombay market, etc. So any outlook on the whole commercial space as well?
Yes, Sawal, is it for me or Sharad? Or anybody can pitch in?
Any of you can.
So, as you rightly said, that there's a lot of talk around work from home hybrid models emerging, but we need to look at, in a context, the cost arbitrage that India offers. And 45% of the occupiers of commercial office space are US global clients. And if you look at the cost benefit that is there, if let's say if same work is done in a tier 2 city of US, it is 81% cheaper to be done in India. So that's one part. And if you take into the dollar factor in terms of the amount of rent that they pay, we are below $1 on an average if you look at other global cities like London and Singapore. So that cost arbitrage will always be there. Now come to the point that a lot of companies are offering a work from home or hybrid model. But if you see the way the big IT companies have recruited, I think TCS has added a huge number of headcount. So these freshers at one point of time will be, required to come to office, not from any other part, but from, the culture and training part. Companies are not abandoning their offices. They are kind of just changing the format. It's a hybrid model. They are, they will either take a flexi spaces where they offer flexibility to the employees that they can work from home, or at some day in a week, if they want to come to office, they can come to office, or they can operate from these shared flexi spaces also. So the consumption of office sector will be there. And India always had, deficiency of grade A office spaces. So if you talk about office sector as a whole, and if you break it down and look at just grade A office, I think the demand would be there, but in a different format, I would say. Most of the corporates are now following this hub and spoke model, where they will have, one corporate office, let's say in a CBD, and they'll have multiple satellite offices in peripheries. So that way, the net effect on office sector will not be much. I think the office will be required. And then if you take into account the de-densification that will happen, if you would see that, at one point of time, the average cubicle space for everybody decreased, from 120, 140 square feet, we came down to, 65 to 70. With this COVID norms, I think this de-densification within the office will also happen. So I think the net impact is going to be positive for the sector. The way the outsourcing is continuing, the cost arbitrage, I think India will always have that edge. And the way our talent is kind of moving up in the chain. If you look at the way this outsourcing started from simple call center to outsourcing of high-end R&D, I think we should be seeing a net positive impact only, not negative.
So I'll ask a difficult question to Sharadji. Okay, Sharadji. So Sharadji, help me to explain in the last cycle, if you, I'm sure you might have studied this, that when the real estate cycle booms, if I do a profit pool analysis of the entire sector, if you have any data that which are the other ancillary sectors, whether it's plywood, sanitary ware, which are the other ancillary real estate cycles which see the maximum growth?
Honestly, I don't have data on that, but I think, it is when the cycle is doing well, when the prices are going up, people feel more confident on their house purchases, and they also spend more on their interiors, fit outs, and all of those kind of stuff. So all various ancillary industries, whether it is kitchen, plywood, sanitary ware, furniture, all of those will benefit, paint, all of those should benefit To what extent, one has to see depending on, you know, what segment and all they are catering to. But that is a trend we have seen as people's confidence in their, as the economy is doing well, they have more disposable income. So one, they spend on the house and then they spend on the improvement of the house.
100%.
Both, and that is both on the old as well as the new houses. So the, you know, kind of ancillary sectors benefit from demand, not just from new sales, but from the spend being done on the existing stock. So I may not be able to buy a 4-bedroom to move from a 3-bedroom, but I can definitely spend some money to make my 3-bedroom nicer.
No, I agree with you. I was just thinking कि जी मैं तो नंबर सोच रहा हूँ कि आपने बोला 15 लाख करोड़ का रियल एस्टेट का मार्केट है, लोधा जी बोलते हैं $1 ट्रिलियन का हो सकता है ये आगे 4-5 साल में जाके. आई थिंक उस दिन हम लोग, मैं इसीलिए तो तेजस बात कर रहे थे कि जो टोटल सेल्स है वो सैनिटरी वेयर का इंडिया में 20-25 हजार करोड़ से ज्यादा नहीं है. You know, so I don't know how to see all those things as a profit pool analysis कि यार जब मार्केट इतना बड़ा हो जाएगा आपका, so the ancillaries will not remain between say 15 to 20-25,000 crores as a subsector. You know, Prashant, if you have any, you know, anything to comment on that.
Barinder, just to mention here, if you take the entire ancillary space today, market size of everything put together, that is pipes, आपका wood panel जो भी पकड़ो, करीबन 1.5 लाख करोड़ के आसपास है. अगर हम 15 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट पढ़ रहे हैं तो ये ancillary will be about 10% or मोटा-मोटी thereabouts. Now, if the real estate market is going to grow 3 to 4x, then I think ancillary will also follow in a similar trajectory.
Prashant, any comment?
See, we should not forget that when we talk about the value of real estate, land prices are you know, a significant part of it.
Yes.
So once we talk about such a growth, we also need to understand the land prices in India have always risen up, you know, in disproportionate way. So we need to, you know, peel the onion in that way also. So in my opinion, see what happens generally is, if you look at the age of inventory, unsold inventory, that's how, you know, I would say, for example, if you see a lot of stock is reaching completion stage, that's where, you know, a lot of paints and, you know, fitting stocks would do well. If there is a huge boom in the launch phase, or let's say the developers have planned a grand amount of launch for next year, that's where, you know, you'll see steel and cement stock participating. So I think that's the reason we say that, you know, real estate should not be looked as a whole. We need to break it down. When we talk about the value of real estate, we need to, you know, break it down in terms of land ka kitna aa raha hai, construction costs kitna aa raha hai, how your approval charges have gone up. So mota-moti, if you see the construction cost as a percentage of entire value is somewhere around, you know, I don't think it will be more than 20%. And this is almost constant across the 7 cities. The real difference is the land price and the kind of premium charges that is paid. Mumbai has one of the highest premium charges that the developer has to pay, and not to mention the real estate. So, इस तरीके से हमें देखेंगे तब समझ में आएगा. So, in your opinion, 10%.
जैसे जैसे पाई बढ़ेगा वैसे वो बस 10-12% ही रहेगा.
हाँ.
You know. अच्छा, so everyone is also accepted with one thing कि अगर last cycle देखेंगे ना हम 2004 से 2008, 9, 10 का cycle देखेंगे, then you know of course the land prices or the, you know, the real estate prices went up by 5-6 times. We were watching out for the sales. The sales of some of the companies went up by 10 times. Stock prices went up by 100 times, you know, in that period. Can that happen now?
Not in my opinion. I think those were, you know, outliers. Because if you look at what happened on ground, I think we are talking about stuck project, unsold. So there was a lot of value destruction that happened during that phase. We are still dealing with so many defaults, so many defunct companies. So I don't think that is going to happen again post your regulatory body coming in. And the, you know, the best part is that the housing, in my opinion, was oversold as an investment product. And we are talking about the era where इन्वेस्टमेंट के नाम से लोग मकान एक डिफॉल्ट से खरीदते थे, जमीन खरीद लो, पर नाउ एज एंड व्हेन the millennials are coming into the picture, people are becoming more aware. We have a lot of investment opportunities, stock market is gaining prominence. I think it will be an equal distribution even when it comes to real estate investment. We have now REITs also. Pehle tha ki that was, you know, a psychological urge to invest something in real estate across the strata of income. And but you know, उस समय आपको real estate के नाम पे या तो आप जमीन ले लो या तो आप घर खरीदो, but you have n number of options right now. So मेरे ख्याल से वो फेज नहीं आना चाहिए, वो फेज इंडस्ट्री के लिए ठीक भी नहीं रहेगा. मेरे ख्याल से it's kind of, you know, the way we have sold real estate in India. I keep on comparing it with insurance. Insurance product का primary objective is risk coverage, not investment. Similarly, real estate, especially residential real estate का end objective India में, looking at the demography, should be of end use, and then it should, you know, be the investment. It should not be कि investment पहले है real estate में, end use बाद में. So this is my opinion. I might be wrong also, but I don't think that cycle is going to come back.
Very well balanced. Sharad, are you more optimistic than Prashant?
No, I think I agree. I think this is an optimistic thing. I think a healthy growth is more sustainable than like an exponential growth, and that leads to more extreme cycles. So I think extreme is not good. I think anyone will prefer a more steady growth that lasts for a longer time, which is more durable. I think that is good for the sector. And I think what the government has done, and the market has also matured. It's been 15, 16 years from there. I think it is people have understood the industry better, both as investors, as end users, as also investors in the company, developers. So I would actually prefer if it is more stable and steady kind of recurring and durable growth versus a yo-yo kind of a cycle.
What is the market cap of the biggest real estate company in Asia? बाकी अपने यहाँ पे टोटल मार्केट कैप सब रियल एस्टेट कंपनी का मिला के मेरे ख्याल में 2-2.5 लाख करोड़ होगा, तेजस, राइट? 2.5 लाख करोड़ के आसपास होगा. तो एशिया में कितना बड़ा होगा सर? प्रशांत जी, शरद जी, बाकी कोई
मुझे उसका एग्जैक्ट आइडिया तो नहीं. इनफैक्ट अभी एक मैं डेटा पॉइंट देख रहा था इस कॉल के पहले. गार्डन सिटी बोल के चाइना की 6th लार्जेस्ट रियल एस्टेट कंपनी है, हांगकांग स्टॉक एक्सचेंज पे लिस्टेड है. उनका एनुअल सेल्स था करीब 80 point some odd billion dollars, which is almost the 6 times of the annual sales that we do. So इसी से आप साइज लगा सकते हैं कि the kind of run rate we have ahead of us.
6 times the annual sales entire India does.
हाँ.
Wow. And उसका क्या मार्केट कैप होगा सर?
एग्जैक्ट मुझे तो आइडिया नहीं, पर सेल्स मैंने बताया आपको 80 बिलियन डॉलर्स कुछ तो था. मार्केट कैप के बारे में सॉरी, आई डोंट हैव मच आइडिया राइट नाउ.
तो सर आप 15 लाख करोड़ बोलते हो कि हमारा मार्केट साइज है, लोधा जी बोलते हैं कि 100 लाख करोड़ भी पहुंच सकता है, और आप बोलते हो हमारा मार्केट कैप जो 2.5 लाख करोड़ है वो 20 लाख करोड़ नहीं पहुंच सकता.
नहीं पहुंचेगा, पर मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि मतलब नेक्स्ट 2-3 साल में नहीं होगा, इट विल टेक टाइम. सी अगर आप देखिए मार्केट कैप में अभी लिस्टेड स्पेस में 3-4 ही नाम जो अच्छे कर रहे हैं.
कौन से सर? So will you prefer a pan India company, Mumbai based or a South based? If given a question to you.
See, I would prefer, if I am, you know, looking from an investment point of view, I would look at a player who has annuity portfolio in its offering, a little bit of retail, little bit of commercial, that gives, you know, some kind of rental income, because this residential business can get into some kind of turbulence, and it's a balanced portfolio. जैसे हम stock market में लोग को बोलते हैं कि diversify होना चाहिए. Second is, I have always seen a, you know, as you rightly pointed out शुरुआत में, कि local players, they tend to do better in their region. For example, हैदराबाद में आप देख लीजिए, talk about Aparna, My Home. These are the local big names. They have not ventured out of the territory, but they really command premium. So, and then there are a few players who have done quite well on a national level, but I would prefer a company which has, number one, a diversified portfolio, कुछ इसमें rent yielding asset हो, and they are more focused in some growth markets. For example, Bangalore हो गया.
सर ये 15 लाख करोड़ में कितना ऑर्गेनाइज्ड होगा? 30%, 35%? आपने बोला नंबर, like
हाँ, मोटा मोटी आप पकड़ लीजिए.
And the remaining will be the local players, right?
Yes, yes.
Which you said that they are decreasing, and the proportion of
that will decline. That will decline over a period of time.
Organized is increasing.
Sir, I had a question. So, sir, we've spoken enough about recovery, that, okay, there's going to be a gradual recovery, it's going to be more stable. Our sales to launch ratio is above 1, which means we'll reach an equilibrium, etc. But what are the key risks, other than COVID, obviously, which is very obvious? But other than COVID, what are the key risks that you see, that this process would take longer, or, it may not happen as much earlier as we were expecting?
See, the millennials are the fact, is the swinging factor. And let's say with this rental policy coming in, we have already been debating buy versus rent. So how that thing will play out, or let's say if the input cost really goes out of hand and the developers have no choice other than increasing the price. These are few factors, and obviously, how does the economy pans out? So if you look at right now, there are a lot of enabling factors: low interest rate. Then I would say prices are still very affordable. Good amount of ready to move in inventory. But I don't know how, and then we have seen a positive factor that millennials are also participating in buying. But going forward, how this buying behavior, because see, this residential, when it becomes more organized and broad-based, it starts to resemble more like a high-ticket consumer durable items also. So preferences, I think, would also play a factor. Abhi tak to I think everything is looking positive for us. But that would be one point. Other than, I don't see any risk. Because see, if you look at this COVID black swan event that we had, I don't think we will face another encounter until somebody drops a nuclear bomb on us. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So in my opinion, that consumer behavior would play a, and one threat could be, people start to once this rental, because a lot of startups, a lot of initiatives, a lot of developments are happening in that space also.
Got it. Sir, has the attitude of banks changed towards real estate sector?
Oh yes. If you talk to when we speak to our own buyers, so see, many people have lost their job, or let's say their salary has been revised in between fixed and variable. So the banks are also kind of taking their time to underwrite their loans. Few of the home loan application that were under process are taking longer time. And banks are also a bit kind of, I think, being a bit strict on their underwriting guidelines. That's where, I think affordable se bhi thoda developers ko withdraw kar rahe hain. Not heavily, because if you look at the broad-based buying segment of these 40 lakhs and below ticket segment, they were mostly employed in SMEs and MMSE sectors. They're still, under the impact of COVID-19. Having said that, even for working class also, banks are taking extra precaution.
Got it. Sir, as a industry watcher, is there any data which you will keep in front of your eye? कि मैं इसको देखता रहूं, track करता रहूं, because that will actually tell me कि whether this sector is moving up or down.
See, from real estate data point, I would definitely keep an eye on who is launching, because after seeing a good cycle of 15 years, you can easily make out that which developer is going to complete the inventory. So I would be a bit worried if a lot of supply starts to come from tier 2, tier 3 developers. That would be a bit a kind of a red signal for me. And the kind of completion data. See, launching is one thing, but how many of the stocks are being completed? And one data point that I have started looking at is the completion cycle. Is it kind of shrinking compared to the last boom that we saw? So उससे क्या होगा कि market में sanity बनी रहेगी. Good players are launching, completion time and deadline is being met, and sales is function of that. That will keep everything in check. If you don't delay a project, cost escalations नहीं होंगे, litigations नहीं आएंगे. आजकल litigations के वजह से भी काफी project delay हो रहा है. And then the cycle, the banks will be more comfortable in lending. So I think these are the few parameters which will go in favor of the market.
Sharad ji, आप?
वीरेंद्र जी, मुझे थोड़ा drop out करना पड़ेगा.
Yeah, we just like last.
Yeah, I also need to leave, so we'll do that. But I think on this question, see, I think in addition to what Prashant said, I think macro देखना भी जरूरी है इसके साथ कि GDP में क्या हो रहा है, इकोनॉमी में क्या हो रहा है, इंटरेस्ट रेट्स पे क्या हो रहा है, क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट रेट सेंसिटिव सेक्टर है. इंटरेस्ट रेट्स अभी काफी लो पे हैं, प्रॉब्ली ऑल टाइम लो पे हैं. सो अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ेंगे तो फिर बोथ होम बायर के लिए EMI बढ़ जाता है और डेवलपर्स के लिए भी कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल बढ़ जाता है. सो दोज आर एडिशनल थिंग्स आई वुड से टू वॉच आउट फॉर.
Lovely sir, thank you so much. मगर लास्टली प्रशांत जी जाने से पहले ये तो बता दो सबसे अच्छा कंपनी कौन सा इंडिया में रियल एस्टेट जिसमें आप पैसा लगा सकते हो. But thank you so much, okay, Prashant ji and Sharad ji. Honestly, it was lovely. I think a lot of things which no one thought about as a real estate sector, आपने educate किया हमें. Thank you very very much for joining us and sorry कि आपका थोड़ा ज़्यादा time ले लिया.
कोई बात नहीं. वीरेंद्र जी, आप ancillaries में पैसे लगाओ.
अरे वाह, चलो ठीक है.
पेंट कंपनीज में लगाओ.
बहुत महंगे हो गए हैं सर. प्लाईवुड सैनिटरी वेयर अच्छे लगते हैं, बट ठीक है. Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really great discussion.
Really enjoyed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, Sharad. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thanks.